There are many concepts that are inaccessible to us in the initial stages of healing. You'll hear people arguing, explaining, defending their perspectives on social media. It's exasperating until you realize that everyone is speaking from their own level of awareness, depending on how much healing they've done or think they've done. But there's many disagreements because everyone is at a different level, and it's okay. So don't waste your time, because sometimes the variation between the levels is so great that you cannot hear each other. So save your energy and don't argue. Just allow people to be exactly where they are. For example, forgiveness. What forgiveness sounds to one person is something completely different to another. And initially, we cannot comprehend the notion of forgiveness. I can't tell you how triggering it was for me to hear anyone imply that I forgive, or let go, or surrender. It seemed insulting and so painfully invalidating, but timing is of the essence. Something well-meaning could be quite damaging at the wrong time, or if we feel coerced or forced to consider it. There are certain concepts that we are simply incapable to take in because we are too broken. And initially, at best, it might be a preemptive idea that sounds really nice, but we won't genuinely feel that way. We may try and convince ourselves because someone told us it's a good thing to do. So I listen when people make these statements about their healing, whether it's actually coming from their heart or from their mind. Because the way you truly feel can't be faked. For example, initially, we can only fake a neutrality. It'll be insincere in the initial stage. And we're deceiving ourselves if we presume we can rush this. Your heart will know. Your heart will communicate to you when it's time to surrender the pain, let go of the story, and how much it's capable of letting go at what time. But most of the holding on and resistance is done by the mind, not the heart. The heart wants peace. The heart longs for restoration. And if you can quiet the mind, you'll be more aware of that. The capacity to heal and the capability to become whole is always there. It might be buried under the tremendous hurt and suffering, but it's always there. In essence, your innocence cannot ever be taken away from you, no matter what you've been through. There is a part of you that cannot ever be harmed. There's a part of you that remains pure and loving. That's the sadness we feel, our disconnection from that part. So discern this. Is the sadness really about something you perceive you have lost? From a certain level of awareness, we grieve that which we have lost. The relationship, trust, our family, time, money. But if you sit with it for a while longer and go deeper, you may be able to sense that what the sadness and emptiness is really a call for. Our disconnection from ourselves, our divinity, from that part of us that always is there. It's never been lost. It's waiting for you to dissolve all these limiting beliefs of your own absolute worthiness and love. Surrendering becomes an expression of self-love, even though it may not look like that at first. We exacerbate that disconnection by focusing on the pain, trying to get validation from other people, trying to understand the narcissist. We get addicted to the mental plane because information gives us some sort of sense of control. But all of that desperation is really a call for love. And it's also love calling us back. Surrender is an ongoing action. It's not just once. Although the initial commitment is made firmly just once, but then you will be tested. Please understand that to let go of pain and suffering is an indicator of strength, maturity, and wisdom. But once again, I need to emphasize timing. Only your heart will let you know when it's time for you. So observe yourself, your tendency, that subtle or not so subtle part of you that wants to hold on to the narcissist. And ask yourself, what is the payoff of holding on? My payoff was that I wanted revenge and justice, but it never came. Not even acknowledgement. I was completely invisible, like most victims of narcissistic abuse are. The family discards you. The narcissist minimizes everything about you once they know you can no longer be controlled. So it's painful every which way you look at it. But that refusal to surrender is another type of pain. And I urge you to just look at it, because it could be costing you more than you realize. You've sacrificed enough already, I'm sure. And surrendering the narcissist is not easy. All sorts of things come up to be healed and loved and accepted. But surrender is a declaration of you being committed to yourself, to your peace of mind. At one stage, I thought that by holding on, one day I'd tell my story to the people that needed to know what happened. But that never occurred. They just didn't want to hear anything. So unpleasant. And if you keep desperately trying to tell your story, that becomes a trap as well. Don't wait for anybody to validate the fact that what you went through was extremely traumatic and it was real. These are just guidelines, generalizations, insights for you to consider and contemplate, because it's a private and intimate matter only for you and your heart to navigate. And I hope to lovingly nudge you to remember you are loved and you are love. Whenever you disconnect from that, it triggers all sorts of uncomfortable feelings. And if what I'm saying here triggers any emotions, it means I've managed, even for a moment, to bypass your ego mind that resists and insists and persists. So I hope that my words have been heard by your heart, that part of you that loves and guides you toward love, peace, and wholeness. I won't engage in ego battles, defensiveness, comparisons, even intellectualizations. You know, all the stuff that we do and we keep looping around in, sometimes for years. And it's not my place to rush you or tell you what you should do in your specific situation. The question that really stopped that exhausting pattern where I wanted justification, demanded recognition of what happened to me, which sadly never came. I just sounded crazier as I desperately needed acknowledgement of all the trauma I went through. The question I asked myself was, so how's your life working out for you? Take from this what you will, but ask yourself, how is your life working out for you? When you're repeating the story, reliving the drama, re-experiencing the pain, desperately trying to figure out the narcissist's behavior, imagining that maybe this time they'll hear you or see your suffering. Maybe if I continue to fight, ask yourself, what am I gaining? Ask yourself, what am I losing? My sanity? My energy? How much time have I chosen to keep giving away to this subject, which frankly feels awful, whichever way you look at it? How much does the topic of narcissism possess my mind? How much am I allowing it to possess my mind? Who am I when I stop? Is there even a sense of me without this story? If you have a moment of peace or joy, grab it with both hands and love yourself enough to allow your mind to just rest in whatever moment of peace you have access to. I know it's difficult in the initial stages. Some of us, we may have never have felt peace. And for some people, peace can trigger anxiety. So it's a very unique internal journey that involves a lot of observation and non-attachment to your thoughts, to your story, to other people's behavior. And there are numerous techniques to help you reorient your focus. In those moments is where all that disconnection and emptiness is healed. You can palpably feel your whole being soothed by peace, by surrender. It's in those moments of surrendering our story, surrendering to, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't see a way out. Sometimes it's a breakdown that forces us to surrender because we cannot control this crazy situation. But also in those moments of surrendering, that is where we allow ourselves the possibility of experiencing grace. This might be a foreign word to many people, and it's a word that I've come to love, which means divine intervention. It means being open to moments of synchronicity, magic, healing, all these things that our intellect and ego mind cannot understand or control. I think you'll agree now that what's happening in the world is a reflection of that. So many of us are being asked to surrender. There are so many uncertainties. There's so many things we cannot guarantee. So that need to control, that need to know can become extremely exhausting. If you're able to invest even 5 minutes of stillness and silence and even imagine what would it be like just to surrender. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't know what's going to happen. Somehow I will be shown a way out. There have been times in my life that were so excruciating, devastating, heart-shattering, that I didn't think I'd survive emotionally and yes, even physically. But somehow here I am. I lived to share this with you, and my heart is still open. Psychologically, I'm still fairly intact, and I still believe in goodness and have faith that anything can be healed, including your heart. You see, our hearts are regenerative organs, and they regenerate faster and get stronger because we nourish them with trust, compassion, hope, optimism, kindness, but first towards ourselves. So please discern what to hold on to and when and what to let go of. And as you progress on your healing journey, you'll perceive things differently than you did before. The more understanding you'll gain, the less you'll want to hold on to the narcissist and your story. It'll all start having less and less relevance as you step into your new authentic life.